Chapter 2. Behaviour. One day, for no reason that anyone could comprehend, 8-year-old Jared ran off the edge of a concrete platform and landed, unprepared, on his face. He spent a week in hospital and 2 weeks out of school, recovering from a concussion and some broken bones. He explained that he simply hadn't seen that the platform was ending. Then, just 7 weeks after that, while playing tag, Jared ran full speed into a pole and suffered another concussion. He told his parents that he had seen the pole, but that it hadn't been in front of him, but rather off to the side. Jared had a long history of vision problems. As a baby, he'd had amblyopia, or lazy eye, where one eye doesn't develop properly so the brain favors the other. And, when he was screened in kindergarten, he needed serious correction plus some eye patching. His mother says he was always a clumsy kid, even after he got the glasses and finished the patching. Pretty much every time he tried to go down the stairs, for instance, he'd stumble and have to grab the railing. He'd walk into walls. He couldn't play sports. After the 2 playground incidents, he started to write things backwards, making his already very poor writing skills even worse, so it was recommended that he have vision therapy. Early in the assessment, a question about his behavior came up. His mom was thinking, "You're an optometrist. Why are you asking about behavior?" Then she gave the lowdown. At school and in public, Jared just came across as very shy, or sometimes a little rude. He wouldn't speak much, not even to kids his age, and he avoided eye contact. But at home, he was a handful. There were epic meltdowns. The family had by this time given up on homework altogether. They'd tried reading recovery, Kumon, and private tutors. He hated them all. He'd even attacked one tutor, throwing her books at her. He would yell, "I'm stupid!" and bang his head against the wall. He'd rip books up and throw things across the room. The little boy had been seen by psychologists and psychiatrists, had been diagnosed with anxiety and given medication for it, and was suspected of having high-functioning autism. But no one had ever connected the dots between his terrible behavior and his terrible vision. Poor little Jared couldn't even get through the testing. I sat him down to check on how his eyes tracked, but he couldn't get through the paragraph I had asked him to read. His eyes were watering like crazy, and anyway, despite being in grade 3, he couldn't really read yet. I felt terrible for him. I wondered what his life must be like. From experience, I knew visual problems and behavioral problems can often go hand in hand. I reminded his mom that when you can't see properly, the world can be pretty frustrating. I mentioned the broken bike analogy, how Jared was essentially riding around on a bike with a busted wheel, yet was expected to be able to ride like the kids on bikes that were in good nick. The world was basically asking him to do things that he wasn't able to do. It was no surprise that he felt stupid and angry and fed up. How would any of us act under those circumstances? In the end, Jared had 18 months of vision therapy. I'm not sure he said more than 6 words to me that whole time. He's not a verbal communicator, but that was okay. He took Fridays off school so he could have a quiet time in our clinic and not be doing therapy during the after-school meltdown time. His mom did his nightly homework with him, getting buy-ins with bribes of candy. They had come to me looking for help with his vision to improve his reading, writing, and lack of coordination. As expected, his reading and writing improved. He was at grade level by the end. His clumsiness went away too, now that he had depth perception. But, to his parents' astonishment, his behavior mellowed as well. He came home after school and didn't go into meltdown. He could do his homework. He still had the occasional outburst, but nothing like before. Now, he was just a regular 9-year-old boy. Quite often people find that when vision improves, it helps with more than just the reading and writing and math. It helps with behavior too. Chelsea, from the previous chapter on reading, was another example. It hit her mom one day that it had been a very long time since she'd heard her daughter threaten to set her alight. It's one of those things you don't realize it until it's gone, Janice says, laughing. There were no more fights at school either. Instead of being the kid other parents worried about, Chelsea became the kid who knew how to be gentle when classmates had special needs. Likewise, Jared changed from a kid who had no self-esteem to a kid who accepted himself and even liked himself, says his mom. It's no small wonder that kids with visual problems have behavioral problems too. They're being asked to do things that they simply don't have the tools to do. Of course they are frustrated. And of course that frustration is alleviated once they can do what is expected. And this could be way more important than we currently appreciate. Jared's mom, Kendra, is a probation officer. Before that, for 13 years, she worked with juvenile offenders. She recalled that some of her former clients couldn't read or write. Many dropped out of school. They get mad at themselves, she says. Their parents get mad at them. Professionals get mad at them. They start having this negative outlook on life because they're not doing anything right. Watching how her son changed after vision therapy made Kendra wonder about her former clients. Could vision problems account for some of their issues? Maybe they weren't succeeding because they simply couldn't do what society was asking them to do. Turns out she wasn't the only one wondering that. Dr. Paul Harris, an optometrist in Baltimore, wondered that same thing. In a paper entitled The Prevalence of Visual Conditions in a Population of Juvenile Delinquents, he reports findings on 132 kids aged between 13 and 19, all of whom were attending a special school for kids in trouble with the law. Many of the kids had been arrested multiple times. Harris subjected them to a battery of tests. One required them to read off, as quickly as possible, 3 paragraphs full of numbers. Many of them scored abnormally low on this because they were so slow. Another was a test in which the kids had to identify which letters and numbers were written backwards. 3/4 of the kids failed. Although their average age was almost 17, Harris found that their average reading score was below grade 6. He tested the students for things like their tracking abilities and how close an object could get before they saw it double, called near-point convergence. He also asked the kids about visual symptoms. Did they have double vision? Did they ever cover one eye to see? Did they hold their reading material close? Many of the kids reported multiple symptoms. Only 4 had none. Harris concluded that a high proportion of young offenders do, in fact, have vision issues. In his opinion, vision should be considered a major contributing factor in why these kids don't fare well in the world. I agree. Kendra worries that, for so many kids, these issues will be missed or not treated. Her kid's eyes were so bad that her family was willing to pay for therapy. What if a kid only has a tracking issue? What if a parent has no money? How many kids are in juvenile detention simply because their visual systems have failed them?